Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude. Going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope your day is wonderful. Real talk. It's Thursday. It's one more day, guys. And then we got the weekend. We just got to get through today and a little bit of tomorrow. And then we
Pascal.
I got to tell you, it's been a wild week. It's been a wild week covering this particular case. It's been a wild week personally and all that. But I am definitely happy to be here to give you guys some more information. And it's still small. Like this show shouldn't be a very long show, okay? But nonetheless, there's a bit of information that I found to be interesting, and it stuck out to me like a sore thumb. I saw this last night. I to cover this piece, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait. I want to see if there's anything new that comes out online overnight. And nothing else really happened. Nothing else came out. But this piece of information really grabbed my attention. And I still think it's weird. And at least it's something that we can add.
Wow, Haitian in the building.
Crazy
Original, got the haters.
cornucopia gumbo bowl full of information and misinformation when it comes to this particular case. All right. So I'm going to give it to you guys anyway. All right. I'm going to give it to you. All right. So do me a favor before we get into everything. Again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Hope you guys are having a really great day and a really great start to your morning. And for those of y'all who are watching across the pond, and it happens to be evening, hopefully good morning. All right. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Down below. Let's hope your day is all the way up. Real talk. That'd be greatly appreciated. It's Thursday. All right. So one more day. Hit it. Let's get it past 300 likes. You guys start to file in. Got to get through today. Good afternoon and a little bit of tomorrow. All right. And then, of course, if you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to hit that reaction button underneath the actual video itself. It's been a wild week. Follow button on my week covering this particular case. Stress that enough. It's been a wild week. That follow button on my personal page and all that. Okay. But I am definitely happy to be here to give you guys more information. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. Small, okay, follow me on those. Shouldn't be a very long show. Check out my merch page, merch.com. I got some really great, nonetheless. Hoodies, t-shirts, bit of information that I found to be interesting, and it stuck out to me like a sore thumb. I saw this last night. Please, I went to cover this piece. I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait, and I want to see if there's anything new, but I will do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just like Pixie Cakes. Thank you so much for becoming a member. You can hit that join button down below if you're watching on YouTube and become a part of the family. Yeah, part of the family. All right. Part of the family. All right. Please and thank you. Hold up. That comes out. I fixed the audio. Sorry about that, guys. I got it. Thank you. Audio. Thank you. Well, just like Pixie Cakes, you can go hit that join button down below and become a part of the family. Okay. Please and thank you. All right. Anyway, no, you guys weren't tripping. That was on me, okay? But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys for being here. Hit that join button, become a part of the family, and all of that stuff, okay? That would be greatly appreciated. Hit that like button as we continue on into this story because there's a lot to talk about. Well, this is a big case, or this is a big story. This is a big mystery. Let me just say that, okay? I got a lot of questions about this, as I think all of us do. Okay, we all have questions on what's going on here. And what's making the situation not so great for all of us is the fact that we got so many inconsistencies going on in what we're hearing from certain people's lawyers and all that, there was allegedly a fifth person that was involved or that was there at the house before these three men were found gone in the backyard of this tenant's home. Okay. Now, of course, I want to show you guys this, and this is a part of the interview that we are going to be looking at because, again, Chris Cuomo had an interview with Ricky Johnson's father, okay, Ricky Johnson Sr. And then later, right after that interview, he has an interview with Jordan Willis's attorney, Paserno. Again, I mean, it's his first interview with Paserno, but Paserno's still out here just flapping them gums. And again, I don't think it's helping the situation. It's making things worse, as we've talked about multiple times, okay? But there's a piece of information that Cuomo slips out during the interview that he has with Ricky Johnson Sr. And he says something along the lines of, one of the guys did not have a coat on when they were found outside. So their coat was still inside the house. And again, I keep going, wait a second. Please work this math out for me. Work this equation out for me. So they went out into the blistering cold. They left the house. You have Jordan Willis, the tenant of that house, the renter of that house, literally saying goodbye to them. These guys walk out. One of them walks out without a coat on, apparently without their cell phone and maybe their wallets as well. And they were found in the backyard, perished. Sans coat in really cold weather. I'm just going to say it now. I'm asking you guys that question. Does that make sense to you? Before we even go into this interview, does that make sense to you? And it's interesting. I think it's really interesting because one of the most important parts of this is that in this is what the lawyer says later. And the reason, and it's not what he says, is what he doesn't address, what he doesn't say, which I find to be very interesting. We're going to be looking at that in just a second. But again, very, very odd. Now, Ricky Johnson Sr., the father of the man in the middle, okay, Ricky, as you can see his photo right there. And may these three men rest in peace, right? It's very rare that we get so much attention on such an odd, mysterious situation, on such an odd, mysterious tragedy. A lot of times these kind of stories, especially when it comes to, I hate to say this, but when it comes to men, a lot of times, even if it's something mysterious like this, it might get a headline and then it passes on, right? There was another story, I think about a year ago, about three or four men that were found in a riverbed, if I remember correctly, and there was very few questions about it. It had some attention for like 2 seconds and then it moved on, right? So I'm happy that people are actually showing care, because without attention, we won't get clarity, right? Without the attention that we have towards this, we may never find out. The families may forever just be sitting there going, what actually happened to our son or to our brother or to our uncle or my baby daddy or my soon-to-be husband, fiance, right? So I am very thankful for that. But these three men were found out there, and all the information that's been spread out here has kind of gotten wild. I'm going to be real. It's gotten wild. But what's gotten even worse is having lawyers coming on to certain shows and talking crazy. Well, actually, just talking, they're talking reckless. And I know I feel some type of way. I mean, I'm sure other people can agree with me. And I've heard from other people, other commentators, anchors and whatnot that have talked about this. And they're saying like, yo, there's inconsistencies in what Paserno is putting out here when he's speaking on behalf of Jordan Willis. 1 minute he says he saw them leave, physically saw them leave, and then passed out on the couch. Other stories from Paserno, oh, he went to sleep. He went to bed earlier, and they stuck around. Then there's others where he's like, no, he escorted them to the door and said, goodbye to you as they left the house, and then went and passed out. And somehow they came back inside the house. It's very odd information. Oh, let's not forget the fact that in one of his interviews, he says, homeboy was in and out of his house. He was running errands all day. And then another interview. He was home all day. He was home for those past 2 days. He never left the house. He was working from home. He was da-da-da-da-da. So which one is the truth, homie? Which part is the actual truth? Now, we've already talked about this, but I'm going to say it again. Let's be real. I understand that if you're only getting certain information from your client, and that's the information that they give you at that time, all right, cool. But if you're going to go hop on from one interview to the next, and within hours, the story changes, you're the lawyer that's representing this guy where the court of public opinion is looking directly at him and saying him guilty. You need to make sure, whilst you are representing thy client, you need to make sure that you got that story correct. Backwards, forwards, upside down, right side up, hot, cold, etc. You need to know exactly what it is by rote. You can't change it every 5 seconds. What kind of representation is that? It's absolutely asinine to me what's been going on in this particular case. And damn right, Kyle, I agree. He needs a new lawyer. But he's still out here, which we are going to be seeing and hearing in just a little bit. Another thing I want to point out before we jump into this, because I'm trying, making sure everybody comes in. All right, we're going to get into this very shortly, this video. But the other thing is, he's got a point here. He says later on in this interview, which of course I'll address again too, but he says something about, okay, police are saying that there's no foul play because apparently the father of Ricky Johnson Sr. basically says something along the lines of, oh yeah, they were drugged out. They were dragged out of the house. Something was in they were probably given something, and then their bodies were dragged out of the house. And then he didn't do anything for 2 days till the cops actually came knocking on his door. Because honestly, he didn't call no cops. It was the fiance that called cops, right? Now, he does have a point here. And it all depends on what the investigation is leading, what lane the investigation has led the cops down, because they're also saying that there is no sign of foul play. And I'm wondering, okay, you drag a body, right? Remember when we were talking about the Savannah Soto case? Think about that. The Savannah Soto case, they said that they could tell that his body, that Matthew Guetta's body was dragged. That there was certain information that was being said in the investigation that were able to find that body was dragged, was moved, physically moved. And of course, we already knew foul play was involved in this situation because of the weapon wasn't there and all that stuff, right? How they were found, etc. But one piece of information, especially when it comes to the other two, the mom and pop, right, is the fact that they helped move the body. So when I look at this, I'm going, hey, what happened here then? Were their bodies really moved? Were they dragged outside or no? Because I feel like, and I don't think the lawyer would sit there and say that out loud anyway. He would just avoid that question or not address that piece. But that's one thing that he said. He said there's no signs of foul play, at least at the surface. So that's something that we need to think about. Okay? That's something we definitely need to think about when it comes to this particular case. Now, okay, you guys are coming in. I appreciate you guys coming in. We're going to get into this conversation really, really quick. But Mono. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. All right. And if you're just refreshing, okay, rejoining, I appreciate you rejoining. And just like Mono, please go hit that join button down below. Become a part of the family. So now there's a big piece. This is about a 10-minute long clip. We're going to be looking at this. I got to dissect it. We got to jump in and out. Sorry, lo siento, but them are the breaks. Okay, guys? So let's take a listen to this. This is the interview that the first part is an interview Cuomo had with Ricky Johnson Sr. Okay. And this is where he talks about this jacket or this coat being inside the house, that one of these guys did not have a coat when they were found outside. Okay. Now let's rock and roll. Hit the number one. Let me know you guys can hear this. Time to party.
37, Ricky Johnson, 38, Clayton McGeeney, 36. The father of one of the men who was found dead in the yard, Ricky Johnson Sr., okay, joins us now. I'm very sorry to meet you under these circumstances. I know speaking isn't the easiest thing for you to do, but everybody's going to understand what your message is on this story, Ricky. I promise you that. What do you believe happened to your son?
Believe that they were drugged in some kind of drug, and then they were drugged outside and left in the snow to die. And I don't know why. I don't know what went on, but I believe that because you can't have free-grown men like that laying in the backyard, supposedly freezing to death. Well, they would have kicked the doors in and gotten the house. So I really believe they were drugged and then laid back there, and he didn't call the police for 2 days.
Very weird thing to do. We'd have to understand motive, but the first question is, because it's just, you have to admit that's a very bizarre thing to do if you're trying to separate yourself from a criminal activity, putting them in your own yard. But was your son someone who abused drugs? I'm sorry to ask the question. I know you just lost him, but it's something that we'd have to know.
Now, real quick, before we jump into that piece, this is a very important part, I think. Okay. Yes. Why would this guy, okay, why would Jordan, if he really did what he did, why would he go and drag the bodies outside? Now, I know understandably it could be like a thing of smell. I mean, that's the number one thing I think of when it comes to something like this. Smell, right? That instantly he doesn't want that in there, in the house, reeking up the place. I mean, bodies do give off certain smells over time. And maybe he was thinking, oh man, this is, the smell of decay, rot, etc. No, I need to put it outside. Or he was thinking, oh, if again, alleged, this is all just speculation, or he wanted them to freeze because he knew that the cold would slow the process of decay on these bodies. That's another possibility. But again, that would require him dragging the bodies out. One of the things I have to ask, footprints, dragging marks, etc. outside. It snowed, right? There was snow in the back, if I'm correct, right? So I keep wondering, was there any type of dragging of any sort, dragging marks, a trail? I mean, you never know. He could have gone back and just taken a branch or something like that and just tried to clean up the path of dragging their bodies, right? But it does make you wonder, what could have happened here, right? Why were they outside physically? If any foul play was done inside the house. Let's continue. And of course, this is a very good question. I think this is a crucial question. This next question that Cuomo just asked. Did he like the party? Did your son like to party? And I'm saying more than just having some drinks and maybe smoking some cigarettes. Did he party? Was he into harder things? Because that's a crucial thing. That's crucial. So let's take a look.
I don't believe he abused drugs. I know he did some drugs. I don't know what time, but I don't believe he was abusing. He didn't have to go to rehab or anything like that. So, no, I think they were partying and everybody did.
And really quick, so he says, yeah, he partook recreationally, but this wasn't an everyday, all day, or day type of thing. Now, one thing I want to say really quick, because Nikki, Natasha, I have so many questions too. But didn't the baby mama, the mother of his child, didn't she have an interview recently? Didn't she say in the interview? And I mean, this is important, and this is just in my personal opinion, I think important pieces of information that needs to be brought into the conversation. Okay. This doesn't mean, it was the powder that got him or whatever. It could be, though. So, and of course, I'm not trying to speak ill on the deceased, but didn't the baby mama say something in the interview about him wanting to go clean? Verbatim. He's working on staying clean. So if he was going to partake, this would be a very big surprise, so on and so forth, because he wanted to stay clean. Okay, cool. That's possible. But then again, you're out with the boys, you're hanging out. It's a fun Sunday evening, fun Sunday afternoon, watching the game, getting some drinks, taking some shots. You all end up going over to one of your boys' houses. Clearly, you're there to kick it some more. That doesn't automatically mean that you're out here skiing, if you get what I'm saying. But at the same time, it's a possibility. Hey, we're gonna go over here and keep partying. We're gonna go over here and keep kicking it. So you guys go over to the house and you continue to kick it. Possibility. It's a strong possibility of somebody coming in. And for one who's trying to stay clean, is around a bunch of enablers. And one bump. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the possibilities are endless. They're endless. And it's funny because I do have a story I got to tell you guys in a little bit. I do have something I got to tell you guys in a little bit. Because it'll all make sense soon. Let's take a listen. But like I said, she said in the interview that he was working on staying clean, verbatim. And just because, and the other thing I want to point out, just because to Papa, he did it from time to time. It's no big deal. He was, he did it recreationally. Does not automatically mean that the father knows what if he is struggling? What if he is battling with addiction? Not all these things are, right there in your face even to your father or to your mother. There's that possibility as well. Like I said, I'm not trying to label anyone anything. Okay. I'm just trying to point out the avenues and the possible angles here, especially when you see something about 3 men found gone in the backyard of a house. They went over to a friend's house to kick it. They were kicking it. There's a possibility something was laced, and this could literally just be that. 3 guys took the wrong stuff at the wrong time and passed away. We still have to leave that on the table. And then the only thing that maybe the only crime that was committed by Jordan could possibly be him either having said party favors, that it was in his possession, He gave it to his friends. They took it. They passed. He freaked out and maybe did not call the cops when he was supposed to. That could possibly be it too, y'all. We have to leave that option and that possibility on the table. Again, he could be completely guilty of doing something even more sinister, given his background and all that, or it could be just as small as that. So we have to put that into consideration. Nicole B just said that too. Yes, Nicole B, or you said something that caught my eye. A functional addict, that they could be functional, like that could very well be the situation. I'm not saying that they are, but we have to leave those options on the table because we have nothing so far as toxicology and whatnot. Let's continue. Like I said, I got a story to tell you guys. We're going to talk about it in a little bit.
I understand. And why do you believe that the friend Willis, do you know him? Do you know this Jordan Willis?
No.
Never met him. Never heard anything about him from Ricky?
No, nothing. The only thing I ever heard was Boyd said the guy wasn't quite right. He said mentally he was a little off.
I think you just said that your son had said that he wasn't quite right, that he was something off about him. You remembered Ricky saying that, but obviously he was still cool hanging out with him because that's where he was at the house that night.
Right. Yeah, so all three of them went over there.
Can I just interject here really quick? Okay. All right. Okay. We got to talk about this. Okay. Because we all know our local watering hole. We all know, you know what I'm talking about. We all know our neighborhood bar. We all know the spots that we will go and frequent. Okay. You know, when we go out and whatnot, you know, the spots that we are comfortable with, the spots that we know that we can go and have some drinks at, blah, 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 and leave, and it's all good. But you know, everybody, it's like Cheers. Everybody knows your name. You know what I mean? Like you just go there and you know some of the people, and it's a spot where it's comfortable. You could do whatever you want. You know, have your drinks, your shots, blah, blah, blah. Have a great time. Go there to watch the games. Maybe more than just that, all that stuff, right? Now, when he says this part, Ricky's dad even said, he said that Jordan was weird or that he was off. Sorry, let me just quote him correctly, that he was off. But let me tell you something. If the dude, okay, this is just speculation again, all right? So tinfoil hat is on tight right now today. I'm even wearing it right now, okay? Think about this for a second. If you know the dude's holding some good-ish and you partake, and he got the hookup, do you really care if he's awkward and weird? If it's an opportunity to hook up, hang out, get the hookup, continue partying with your friends, it's like, okay, well, we're cool with him. It's cool. It's fine. Whatever. Right. And I'm with my other boys, with some of my boys, 3 other guys that I know. So we good. Yeah. Let's go on. Yeah. Let's go over to his crib. That's fine. You know what I mean? Little toot, whatever the hell it is. Right. I'm just saying. And just because he's a little off doesn't mean that there's anything sinister. We have to put that out there too, right? But it's like, okay, he's a little socially inept, but he got the hookup though. And he's offering his house, and he's offering a place to go and you know, drink and kick it. I don't have to spend any more money. He's got booze at the crib. 3 of my other boys are coming through. Yeah, I'm going to slide through. Bet. Let's go. Let's go. Possibilities here, guys. All I'm saying is I'm exercising the possibilities. All right. But, whoops. Starlight Nursery, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family, Starlight. Don't forget to hit that join button down below, okay? Hit that join button down below and check out my merch page, pascalmerch.com. Trust and believe, you will really appreciate it. Go check it out. But Even see, Nicole B even said, "See, why is your stuff popping out to me so much today?" But yeah, sounds like a good time to man. It sounds like a good time to me too. I don't have to spend any money on the booze anymore because you got to remember they've been kicking it since about 3:00. So they've been kicking it, drinking, doing shots, having beers, doing whatever, watching the game, eating wings, pizza, whatever the hell they're getting at the places that they've been watching the game at. They're kind of doing their own like bar hopping type thing, bar crawl. And then near the end, it's like, hey, the places are going to be closing soon type thing. Or this place is dead anyway. Why don't you come over to my crib? I got plenty of booze. We could do whatever, and maybe there's a possibility. I got that hookup. You know what I'm saying? Got that hookup. It's like, oh, word. Okay. Where we at? Say less, bro. You see what I'm saying? So that could be it on why he was in that house and why those guys were there in the first place. That's a possibility, right? But it also seems to me like, how close of friends were they? Because if the father's never known this guy, I'm wondering how long they were friends for. And I know that may not be anything and it may be everything. But it seems a bit interesting that even Ricky Johnson Sr. doesn't know anything about him except that his son has said that he's a little bit awkward, that he seems off. That's weird. My high school friends, my parents knew. Or, no. You see what I'm saying? The ones I grew up with in high school and all that, they know them. There's no question about my close friends from high school. You see what I'm saying? They're like extended family. So I find that a bit weird too. But let's continue.
All right. And just one last question for you. And know that until this is solved, we'll stay on it. We're always a phone call away. Okay? So we're here as you get more information. What are the police telling you right now?
Not a damn thing.
Don't do it. We called probably 15 times. They don't return our call. I called the sheriff. He hasn't returned my call.
Really?
About Bernie. He's on it now. So I know what they.
My guess is, Ricky, you're going to get some attention when they know. I mean, look, you've been talking to the media already, but we're going to start calling the police and try to find out. I mean, that's part of the job, is being in touch with the victims' families.
Right.
A lot of this doesn't make sense. I'm not questioning your credibility. I'm saying the story doesn't make sense. So, Ricky Johnson, we're on it. And I'm very sorry for the loss to your family. And we're a phone call away.
Really, really appreciate all the help you can give us.
All right. Ricky Johnson Sr., thank you very much. Again, condolences to your family. I told you, it doesn't make sense, this situation, right? And that's weird for the police. I mean, you call him 15 times. He's upset. His father, he just lost his son. Very unusual.
Yep. And I agree. It's very unusual for this to go down, like how this has been coming together. Okay. It's very weird that the father is sitting here, Ricky Johnson Sr. is sitting here saying, yeah, we've called 15 times. We've been trying to get in touch with police, and police aren't even giving us the information that we need, that they're not even looking at this in a way. And I will say this too. I get it that this could be nothing. Literally, this could literally be full on bad powder ingested by 3 men, and those men passed away in this way. There's that strong possibility. We got to keep that on the table. So I understand, but at the same time, you still have grieving parents that are sitting here going, where the hell, how did this happen? How did this all go down? We need transparency. We need to know what's going on, because it's so odd that they were outside the house, and how this man, it is mostly because the man that was in the house, that actually rented that house, was not responding, texting, returning phone calls, nothing to nobody. And they had to do their own due diligence, put in their own grunt work to break into the house and find them in the back of the house. Remember, how long would it have been if the fiance didn't break in through the house and start screaming his name and find the first body on the patio of the backyard? How long would it be? Would he had left them out there for a whole month, for a whole week, for a whole, you know what I'm saying? It just is wild to me. So that's why the parents are looking at this. The families are looking at this and scratching their head going, this doesn't make any sense. Because of the lack of response from Jordan Willis. That's all it is. If he had called right when he found them gone, this would be a completely different case. This would be a completely different story. This probably wouldn't be as mysterious. This probably wouldn't be as nationally gawked at right now, right? If only he did the right thing and made the right call at the right time. So it is weird. And I don't blame family for sitting here going, no, I cannot let this be let it be powder laced with Fenty. Okay? That's all that they're thinking right now. There's no way. He didn't do anything. He didn't call. He didn't do a damn thing. So what's up with this? Now I feel there's foul play. It'd be a different story if he did something right when they were found gone. Okay? Just doesn't make sense. All right? Vanessa just said, as of yesterday, the cops said this is a closed case. Accident, they say. What accident? See what I'm saying? If that's true, what accident? You know what I'm saying, Ray Allen? I don't think they did, baby. I don't think that they contained the scene properly, and maybe they took photos, but it seems like they were like, yep, looks like a cut and dry OD situation. Yep. Going back and tag him. Bye. Like, that's what it seems like. 0 Fs to me. And I'm used to the 0 Fs reaction to other types of cases, if you get what I'm saying, without actually saying it. But you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I hope you know what I'm saying. But I'm used to those kind of cases where the family has to do 17, independent autopsy reports and all that stuff. And I guarantee you they're going to be doing the same thing with this one too. Family's going to be, or at least I recommend the family, if they don't get the results that they feel like they rightfully got, they need to start getting their own independent autopsy report. Get those reports done for themselves to make sure that what happened to them is actually what happened to them. I hate to say it like that. This could be cut and dry, straight up and down like 6 o'clock. A situation where they took the wrong type of drug, laced, right? But if family feels like it's something different, they need to make sure that they have their own independent autopsy report done themselves. That's what I say. Take a book out of Kendrick Johnson, or any of the other cases that we've covered in the past, where family felt like they're not giving us all the information. Just saying, okay? But interesting that if that's true, with what I just read a second ago, what Vanessa said, saying that they say it's an accident. The hell's an accident? That don't look like what accident? Where's that? Show me proof. So now we're going into the second part. In the second part, we got Pacerno back. Oh my God. Pacerno is back at it again. And the thing is he's not making things any better. Again, like I said, he needs to stop talking. He needs to sit down, stop talking. That's what I think. All right. But he comes in and he says some things, but it's also the things that he's not saying, the things that he's not addressing. You'll get what I'm saying in just a minute.
Department to not be in touch. All right, now let's flip it to the other side. The lawyer for Jordan Willis, he's the guy who lives in the house who supposedly hosted this watch party. There have been some different stories, though. So let's bring in counsel, John Pacerno. It's good to have you. Did I say your name right?
You did. Thank you, Chris, for having me.
All right. So, sir, you are already familiar with the suggestion from Mr. Johnson. Tell us, what does your client say happened that night?
Sure. There's been a lot of factual inaccuracies about what took place. and you let off one here with the show this evening. The guys were not watching the football game at Jordan's house. They were watching the football game at the fifth individual's house, who at the end of the evening ended up over at Jordan's house. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to come on, because I wanted to square some of these loose ends up that are floating around.
Good. That's why I want you here. So they watched
Sure.
the game somewhere else, then went to your client's
Jordan's
house. For what reason?
They went over there to hang out and socialize. These guys are pretty tight. 4 of the 5 of them that went over there, they went to high school together here locally in Kansas City. So they've known each other for 20 to 25 years. The 5th individual, he was an acquaintance of one of these guys, and Jordan had known him for 2 or 3 years. So they're hanging out over there. They're playing some kind of games. At some point late, Jordan believes it was around midnight. The 5th individual decides that he's going to leave, and he does leave. That leaves the 3 young men who were deceased at my client's house. Jordan feels as though it was another hour or so, hour and a half, 2 hours. He doesn't know. He started to get tired, so we're talking now early morning hours of Monday morning, that he's kind of laying on the couch. He wants to go to sleep. They're making their way out the front door. They say their goodbyes, and that's the last time that Jordan sees them, is when they leave and walk out the front door.
What's really interesting to me is how quickly he comes out the gate and is trying to correct Chris Cuomo when he doesn't have the information correct himself, at least from all the interviews that we've seen so far. You got to miss me with all this nonsense, bro. You're sitting here going, no, well, actually, what you just started off this whole segment out with is completely wrong. What do you know that's actually factual? You've said 15 different things, homie. And now you're going at it again, saying some more BS. So tell us what the F is going on. Quit coming in trying to correct Chris Cuomo when you don't have the facts correct yourself, man. I'm so done with this man. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just done. All right. This guy needs to stop lawyering right now. Okay. Quit. Just quit. We're going to roll this whole thing back again. So I'm just going to keep it rolling. Let's go.
Does he say that they were doing drugs? Were they partying? It's not a judgment thing. It's just to understand the circumstances.
Understood, Chris. And at this time, until the police have concluded their investigation, that's an area I really don't want to comment on for a variety of reasons.
Because they were doing some party favors. He's saying it without saying it. You feels me. He's saying it without saying, because for a fact he would have been like, no, sir, no. There was no partaking in party favors. You're absolutely wrong with that assumption, because he's so quick to be like, you already got this wrong. They were watching the game at the 5th guy's house, and then they came over here and they continued to play Call of Duty and do blow. You know what I'm saying? Come on, y'all. Come on, man.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, your client's going to have some trouble here for a while.
Damn right he is.
At a minimum, while they're trying to figure out the cause of death. They found him in the backyard. The loved ones say they were trying to reach your client and they couldn't get him. Social media knocking on the door, that he was ducking them essentially.
Yeah, and that's not true at all. There were 2 calls that were placed, or messages, I guess, that were sent to his phone, both on the Tuesday afternoon, late afternoon. One was from the 5th man that was there. It was a couple hours before the police arrived at his house at approximately 9:50 p.m. And the other was from either the wife or the fiance of someone else. That was a Facebook message. Neither of those messages did he receive prior to the police coming to his door and him speaking with police.
Okay, so he's saying that the messages that he received that he never actually received them. There was only 2 attempts on getting in touch with him, but there is the 5th person that's claiming that he was receiving, or at least texting him as well, trying to get in touch with Jordan. So okay, fine, sure. These guys were trying to reach out to him. He was not responding to those text messages or those messages on Facebook, as he was saying. So they showed up to his doggone house. You show up to his doggone house and he's not responding at all until 50 pulls up. That's the only time. Whoop, whoop. Then all of a sudden he hears everything. Suddenly he's got ears, hypersensitive hearing like a dog. Okay. Yeah, sure.
If he's tight with these guys, why wasn't he like reaching out to them the next day like friends normally would?
Yeah, I don't know. They've been together all day Sunday. I don't know that you call your buddies up, on Monday after you've spent all day Sunday with him. He didn't. He had no knowledge that they were missing, and he didn't know anything until the police came to his house Tuesday evening.
The guy's a scientist, I understand. Is that right? He works at his house?
Yes, sir. He works from home. He's a scientist. He does HIV vaccine research.
This is a very weird situation. Do you have any suggestion as to how these three grown men, one of them supposedly without a coat, wound up outside frozen in the yard?
Sure. One of the things I did want to get at here, Chris, if I could, is
Sure.
There's been some
Again.
Some of the reporters that were involved, there's been some statements attributable to Jordan that he in fact said that they froze to death. That's not true. The reporters first contacted Jordan's sister and told her that there were 3 people that were dead. They somehow tracked her down to an association with this residence. When she found that out, she didn't know whether Jordan was one of the 3 men that had passed away. And she called him right away, obviously. He was distraught. He was shook up. He tells her, and I'm going to quote this, I don't want to misstate this. The police found 3 of my friends frozen in the backyard last night. That somehow down the road gets changed to these guys froze to death.
Right.
Those.
You see how he's just constantly moving this goalpost a little bit? He just keeps nudging it just a little bit. Oh, yeah, well, actually, he didn't say it like this. Well, he still said about them being frozen to death in his backyard. So, okay, if it was telephone, all right, that's fine. But at the same time, like, I just can't. I just can't. Let me continue. We're gonna roll this back again in a second here.
Words never came out of his mouth.
Okay.
And I try to tell everybody this, Chris. You got to understand, these guys are tight. These guys are friends. They hang out. They watch the Chiefs game every week. Jordan had actually purchased tickets for the 5 of them to go to the next game the next week.
That doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares? No, it doesn't matter. That doesn't automatically exonerate the guy. Oh, he had plans to do this other thing with these guys. You never thought that maybe he bought those tickets to use as an excuse? As some sort of messed up, like, hey, I would never do this to these guys. I love the guys so much, I bought tickets. See? These tickets were bought. See how much I love these guys? I would never betray my friends like this. Never.
He had absolutely no reason to harm these people. And I'd like to address, and obviously we feel very sorry. And he's lost 3 close friends. He's devastated. He feels very sorry for the families, as we all do. But there is no evidence to support these bodies being dragged anywhere in the backyard. When law enforcement came to his door and woke him up, he answered the door. He voluntarily spoke with them without an attorney. He answered all of their questions. He voluntarily consented to a search of their house. They searched the house. You know this, Chris, you were a prosecutor. If there had been any indication that these bodies had been dragged anywhere, we would have heard about it. And the police would not have been so quick to say there was no foul play involved and that this is not a homicide investigation. So that simply didn't happen. And I understand they're hurting and they want to lash out at people. But a good close friend of your sons and loved one is not the person to lash out at.
I understand your perspective. Please extend the invitation with your assistance to your client. Nothing's as compelling as the person involved themselves, but I appreciate you correcting the record and putting out his position on these very troubling questions, because this situation just doesn't make sense. Counsel,
No, and Chris, I
Yes.
would tell you that once the autopsy has been concluded, at that time, I think it would be an appropriate time for all of us to talk again.
I'm happy to have you on. It's an open invitation. I'm not here to jam up your client. I'm here to figure out what happened, because the situation doesn't make sense. So thank you very much, counsel. I'm a phone call away. Appreciate.
Now, one thing I want to say is I do appreciate how Cuomo conducted himself handled himself in this particular interview, because it is true. This man is innocent until proven guilty. I know that the court of public opinion right now is looking at him and saying, yes, this man did something. Something's off with this situation. Optically, there are so many questions. Optically, this does not make any sense. It just doesn't. Okay? It just doesn't. Now that this guy Jordan has taken a leave of absence from his job, he has moved out of that house. I mean, and this is all within the last few weeks. As soon as his friends were found gone in the backyard, he started packing up his ish and kicking rocks. He took a leave of absence from his job because of fear of, public retaliation out here. But he did do all that within weeks of the passing of his friends. Now, one thing, of course, I'm going to roll that back. But again, you got to remember, there's a lot of things that this man is addressing. He's so quick to address these pieces of information, but he's not addressing other things that were brought up in the interview with the father. So let me roll that back a little bit. We're going to kind of jump, kind of like time warp. Okay, time jump through some pieces in here. But it's interesting because he's sitting there going like, oh, let me tell you fresh out the gate, you got this wrong. This particular information is wrong. This particular information is wrong. But remember the things that he's not addressing. Just remember that. There's things that he's not addressing. He's real quick to sit there and go, no, he didn't say that to the police about them freezing to their demise. That didn't happen. That's not how it went. The telephone happened. It went from one mouth to the next, and then now it's turned into they just froze to death. Right? It's interesting the things that he's addressing and the things that he's not addressing. Another thing that he says near the end of this bad boy. I'm going to play it because I think this is important. We're going to dissect it a little bit.
Jordan had actually purchased tickets for the 5 of them to go to the next game the next week,
which we already know.
Absolutely no reason to harm these people.
And again, it doesn't matter, because just because you had plans on surprising your friends with something does not automatically mean that you don't have a change of heart at the spur of the moment, out of nowhere, deciding to do something sinister. Doesn't matter. You could have plans on. There's been plenty of stories of like guys that are locked up in prison right now that, I bought roses and candy from my wife for Valentine's Day. And then seconds later, they're locked up because they viciously emmed their loved one, their girlfriend or their wife. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I had plans on. The dude could have, exactly, Natasha. It's like he could have just snapped, and things change. Let's not forget that things do change when somebody passes away. Plans change quick. Let's be real, because he could have seen them partake and then something bad happened, and then he's like, oh damn. Like I said, he could have nothing to do with their demise. Nothing. He could have just been there, saw what happened, and freaked the ever-loving Ish out. Okay? He could have freaked out and said, I don't know what to do. 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 And it's in my house. It's in my house. Oh my God. And just sat there, not knowing what to do. That could still be it. And then he just didn't call nobody. That's his bad. That's where he's in the wrong. And now, optically, it's turned into a whirlwind of speculation, misinformation, not only just from us content creators and news reporters. It's also coming from his source. It's from his freaking person right here who's supposed to be his representation. And instead of muddying up the water even worse. But this is the interesting part that I want to play here really quick, okay?
And I'd like to address, and obviously we feel very sorry, and he's lost 3 close friends. He's devastated. He feels very sorry for the families, as we all do. But there is no evidence to support these bodies being dragged anywhere in the backyard.
Okay. Now, when he says there's no evidence of the bodies being dragged out into the backyard, I'm wondering if he's talking about the autopsy report or if there's any information from the crime scene itself. Was there markings, etc., on their backs? Was there any proof of some sort of dragging happening onto their bodies? Was there proof of snow trail, right? Was there a snow trail? Was the backyard fully thawed out with snow? You see what I'm saying? That's the one thing I want to know. Because, you know, if they were outside and it was snowing and it snowed a little bit, there's a possibility that a little bit of their bodies could be covered in the snow, and might be a little difficult to see their bodies from standing inside the house, right? From looking from inside the house, outside the house, through the window, and depending on how far away they are from the house. Mainly, I'm not talking about the main body, the body that was on the patio, because the body that's on the patio, I mean, you can see, dogs, the wind knows it, okay? A helicopter could have seen that, right? But as far as the ones that are further back, right, in the backyard, which it is a big backyard, how much snow had fallen over those 2 days or over that particular night? There's a possibility that back out there, it's hard for him to see. It may look like a pile of leaves, but that's so strange. Again, so strange to me. Doesn't matter. Very odd information as far as that goes. Okay. So yeah. So let me just continue on. There's more to this. Let me roll that back a little bit. But if the autopsy showed, like I said, we got to wait for the autopsy report, because once the autopsy report says something about their backs or their fronts, however they were getting dragged, that's going to say something. That's going to say something big time, right? Because there are other possibilities here, which we will talk about those possibilities again. Okay. But do me a favor, guys. Okay. Hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Let's get it past a K. I want to see it go to a K, 1K. All right. Let's get to 1,000 likes, okay? Hit that like button down below. A like don't cost a thing. It just helps this channel grow, and we are growing beautifully. So if you appreciate how I tell these stories and how we have these conversations, please hit that like button down below, okay? Do not forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribe, okay? Thank you. All right? But let's continue on. Autopsy report will say a lot, okay? Will say a whole lot. Okay. So hopefully we will hear something very soon. Let's continue though.
And he's lost 3 close friends. He's devastated. He feels very sorry for the families, as we all do. But there is no evidence to support these bodies being dragged anywhere in the backyard. When law enforcement came to his door and woke him up, he answered the door. He voluntarily spoke with them without an attorney. He answered all of their questions.
Sure.
He voluntarily consented to a search of their house.
Sure.
They searched the house.
Sure.
You know this, Chris. You were a prosecutor. If there had been any indication that these bodies had been dragged anywhere, we would have heard about it. And the police would have not have been so quick to say there was no foul play involved and that this is not a homicide investigation.
Let me just say this really quick. He's forgetting something here, and it's very frustrating. Because he's forgetting something here. You want to know what it is? What is it, Pascal? He's forgetting the fact that they had 2 whole days. Jordan had 2 whole days to clean up his ish, to clean up his act. 2 whole days. Sunday happened, Monday happened, Tuesday happened, or at least he had at least a full day. Let's just give him Monday. Okay? Let's just give him Monday. Let's just give him Monday for a second. All right? So he had all of Monday. And remember, he works from home. So he can go up there and, log in and say, I'm here, everybody. And then go back and clean his ish up if there's anything to be cleaned up. You got to remember, he had an opportunity. If there was any paraphernalia around, if there was anything of that sort that he needs to flush down the toilet, he can do that. And that's what I think he may have done. So, of course, when cops show up and he's holding the empty wine glass in his in his boxers, just chilling in the cut, going, "Oh, what's going on? Oh my gosh. Hi, 5-0. What is this all about? What could be the matter, sir? What happened? Oh, come on in. Yeah. Come on through. Come check out my stuff. Check out my private domicile. You can come in. Nah, everything's cleaned up. Hold up. Yeah, everything's cleaned up. Yeah, just come on in. You don't think that dude has time to clean up anything that would give off a vibe that some foul play happened, or that they were partaking, kicking it, doing some, you know what I'm saying? Little toot, little sugar, booger sugar that was tainted. Opportunity to clean all that stuff up, because he doesn't want to get arrested for having possession of those things. So you got 48 hours to do that. Come on, man. Come on. So, okay. Sure. Come on in. No problem, officer. I will be as cooperative as I bloody can. Come on in, because I got everything's cleaned up, baby. You're not going to find a damn thing. I went through this place with a fine-tooth comb. I scrubbed every corner, every nook and cranny of the table and the stuff that was around. I threw it away. All that stuff is gone. Things are flushed down the toilet. Come on. He had 2 days to clean up his act whilst his friends were still outside. So it doesn't matter. The timeline gives us something different. Period. We're going back. Like I said, I'm going to be hopping around this video here. Hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button. Let me get this, though, really quick, the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Our first one of the day. Thank you so much. Okay. Finding the masterpiece. Thank you so much. Didn't you find it? The masterpiece? It's right in front of you right now. I'm kidding. Keep looking for that masterpiece. Is Pasterno, I think you're saying Pasterno, is Pasterno incompetent, dumb, or trying to proactively muck it up enough for a mistrial if charges are filed? Ooh, that's a good question. God bless you and your family, Pascal. Hey, God bless you too. And keep looking for that masterpiece, although it's right in front of your face right now on camera. Me. I'm just talking about me. But yes, I agree. That could be, or not agree, but that's a very interesting theory. That's a very, very interesting theory. But, you know, how he's answering things, like, sure, that's what happened. Sure. Yeah, he went in over here and did. Is that what he did? Sure. Moving on, this is the other thing that you got wrong. Sure, though. That doesn't make sense. You're a lawyer. It's yes or no, not sure. Okay? Sorry, I can't, no. If my lawyer ever, okay, while we're just chilling and hanging out and he says, sure, that's fine. But if we were out and he's supposed to be representing me somewhere and he's out here just going, sure, that's what he did. Yeah, sure. No, you're fired. You're fired. You said what? You're fired. But let's jump back and forth. You know, and it's funny because now I hear sure and I'm thinking do you guys remember the deodorant Sure? The Sure, unsure? Nobody remember? That's a deep cut, though. That's a that's a deep cut. All right, a little bit of a left turn, but you know, we're here for left turns today. Okay, it would not be the Pascal show without a left turn or so each episode, right? But nobody remembered the deodorant Sure? All you youngins need to look it up sometime, okay? But I remember those commercials like. That stuff drove me nuts. Anyway, let's see if he says anything more here.
So that simply didn't happen. And I understand they're hurting and they want to lash out at people. But a good close friend of your son's and loved one is not the person to lash out at.
I understand your perspective. Please extend the invitation with your assistance to your client. Nothing's as compelling.
Okay. Now, one other thing I want to say is, okay, I'm not a lawyer. Obviously, you guys already know that. Okay. This is not the reason why you come to watch my show. The lawyer, you know, Emily D. Baker, Andrea Burkhart. I mean, those are just a few of the names of law tubers that I've grown to really love and respect when it comes to how they deliver and talk about what's going on in specific cases. Okay. So shout out to them. And I'd love to get lawyer, and Emily D. Baker on the show sometime. That would be phenomenal. So if anybody knows, has a connect to any of them, holla at your boy, because would love to get him on the show. But one thing I do know, and it's on his side, it's on Paserno's side. I know, surprise, right? Is that I understand he's representing his client. That is his job. Okay, so he has to speak on behalf of his client. Doesn't matter if he believes his client or not. This is the information that he does have to a certain extent. But still, I think that there's a moment where you need to just stay quiet. And I don't know if it's his client basically saying, hey, like Jordan sitting there going, no, you keep going back out there because, I need to save my name. My name needs to be saved here. But at least as I said before, you got to come in correct with the right information. And I think that's incredibly crucial. But again, like I said, it's the things that he's not saying in this interview. Okay.
Up over at Jordan's house. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to come on, because I wanted to square some of these loose ends up that are floating around.
Good. That's why I want you here. So they watched
Sure.
the game somewhere else, then went to your client's
Jordan's
house. For what reason?
They went over to hang out and socialize. These guys are pretty tight. 4 of the 5 of them that went over there, they went to high school together here locally in Kansas City. So they've known each other for 20 to 25 years. The 5th individual, he was an acquaintance of one of these guys, and Jordan had known him for 2 or 3 years. So they're hanging out over there. They're playing some kind of games. At some point late, Jordan believes it was around midnight. The 5th individual decides that he's going to leave, and he does leave. That leaves the 3 young men who were deceased at my client's house. Jordan feels as though it was another hour or so, hour and a half, 2 hours. He doesn't know. He started to get tired. So we're talking now early morning hours of Monday morning.
So he's saying 2 o'clock in the like 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning is when he started getting tired and was like, yo, I need to go to sleep. Just remember this. So he says around 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm telling you right now, on a Sunday night, and the fellas, you and your boys are still out at your crib up watching Jeopardy, which can be streamed, by the way. I just want you guys to know that. They could also be streaming it. All right, which can be played at any time. That's the other thing too. I think we need to reverse math and figure out what time Jeopardy was actually playing on the telly. If it was actually broadcast, like if it was actually being broadcasted on a local channel in Kansas City, right? Like whatever their cable and internet provider is. What time was it actually playing during that time? Because if we find out what time it was actually playing, then we can find out exactly what time the 5th mysterious man left the house. Or to find out if that 5th mysterious man is lying through his teeth. But I will say, just the only pushback I have is that you could still stream Jeopardy. You can still go and stream that stuff. So that's a possibility. But again, you got guys over there at midnight on a Sunday night. It is a school night. All right. It is a work night. They're there till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning before Jordan got tired and went to bed. They are not doing anything good at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday night. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. If it's either drinking or partaking in other things at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday night, they are not there reading the Bible and drinking Perrier. Trust and believe they are not. Okay? They're not doing God's will on a late night, Sunday night, early Monday morning. There's no way. Okay? So they're obviously doing something, getting faded on something. Again, that's my own speculation. You never know. They could just really enjoy each other's company and they were working on model airplanes. I don't know. But I will tell you this. The way that I look at it, on a Sunday night, you out here at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning still kicking it? You are not reading the Bible and drinking Perrier, talking about the word of the Lord. Guarantee you you're not. Okay? You are not. All right. So he gets tired, 1 o'clock, because remember, this is a new timeline that he's giving us now. Remember the multiple timelines this mother lover's given us. I want to know what Paserno means in, I think that's Italian. I wonder what Paserno actually means in English. But anyway, Paserno is literally out here saying a completely different timeline. Let's look at this. Somebody said a late Bible study. A late night Bible study. You don't know they weren't, Pascal. Man, I guarantee you they were not talking about, Deuteronomy verse 3, chapter 4, verse 14. Okay, trust, they were not. All right. So, and I said Deuteronomy. Let's go.
Around midnight, the fifth individual decides that he's going to leave, and he does leave. That leaves the three young men who were deceased at my client's house. Jordan feels as though it was another hour or so, hour and a half, 2 hours. He doesn't know. He started to get tired, so we're talking now early morning hours of Monday morning. That he's kind of laying on the couch. He wants to go to sleep. They're making their way out the front door. They say their goodbyes, and that's the last time that Jordan sees them is when they leave and walk out the front door.
So he lays down, or he's like, "Hey, I'm getting tired." He lays down on the couch allegedly and says, "Hey, all right, man. Yeah. It was fun. You know what I mean? Man, I got to get some Z's in, man. Tomorrow is an early morning. Shoot, it's 2 o'clock in the morning right now. 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. All of them are probably like, yeah, I got a big thing going on tomorrow. I got a big project, whatever. Tomorrow's a big day. At least, they're going to be working through a hangover. Man, I'm about to be hung over like crazy, right? All right, we're going to have some, we got to go. All right. Hey, you good? We all good? Let's rock. Right? Let's rock and roll. Let's leave. He sits down on the couch and he's saying, chucking up the deuces to the guys as they go out the front door. He lays down and he passes out. So apparently these guys either go back into the house or they go around the back of the house and get into his backyard. Now, I want to point out one thing they did not talk about is the fact that there was allegedly one of the guys without a jacket on found in the backyard. Let's not forget also cell phones. Allegedly, this part is all like hearsay because this is just from interviews, but they're saying cell phones and wallets were found inside the home of Jordan Willis, not on their person. Why? Coat was still inside the house. Coat was not on one of the guys. Say what? Okay.
Does he say that they were doing drugs? Were they partying? It's not a judgment thing. It's just to understand the circumstances.
Right.
Understood, Chris. And at this time, until the police have concluded their investigation, that's an area I really don't want to comment on for a variety of reasons.
Right. I get it. I mean, your client's going to have some trouble here for a while, at a minimum, while they're trying to figure out the cause of death. They found him in the backyard. The loved ones say they were trying to reach your client and they couldn't get him. Social media knocking on the door, that he was ducking them essentially. Yeah, and that's not true at all. There were two calls that were placed, or messages, I guess, that were sent to his phone, both on the Tuesday afternoon, late afternoon. One was from the fifth man that was there. It was a couple hours before the police arrived at his house at approximately 9:50 p.m. And the other was from either the wife or the fiance of someone else. That was a Facebook message. Neither of those messages did he receive prior to the police coming to his door and him speaking with police. If he's tight with these guys, why wasn't he reaching out to them the next day like friends normally would? Yeah, I don't know. They've been together all day Sunday. I don't know that you call your buddies up, on Monday after you've spent all day Sunday with him.
he didn't. He had no knowledge that they were missing, and he didn't know anything until the police came to his house Tuesday evening.
Okay. Now, in this pushback, I do agree on this. Fellas move different than females. No offense to the ladies. Okay. This is not a dig at ladies and how you guys be this and how we be that. Nah. What is interesting, though, and I've talked about this in another show, fellas don't go and call each other up being like, are you home okay? We just don't do that. Unless we know for a fact that either it's getting dangerous out in the streets or we know that, there's been some sort of partaking, right? And we want to make sure our boy got home okay. But most of the time, that's the next day, right? Especially if you guys are tying one on, I'm sure it's the text message like, I'm struggling today, bruh. Man, last night was fun, right? Man, I'm hungover. But other than that, you're not sending out long ass, Moby Dick text messages of like how your day was and what you ate and all that. Guys just don't do that. Okay. It's like, yeah, I'll see you when I see you. When something's up, I'll text you. We don't do the, can you text me when you get home? We don't do that. Girls do that. No disrespect, but that's the truth. All right. Fellas move different than girls. And it's only if it's that or we know our friend is about to get laid. I'm just going to be real. It's like, yo, let me know how it goes, son. You know what I mean? Other than that, we don't text each other like that. You know what I'm saying? We don't. So of course, see you later, man. I'll see you. You're not texting them the next day like, hey, how you doing? How you do? You know what I mean? No. You okay? You get home? Very rare do you get it, unless it's like icy conditions out in the streets and all that stuff. It's like, yo, can you just text me when you get home, bruh? Because I just, I know. Go Chiefs. But seriously, I just want to make sure you got home safe. All right, bro? Can you just text me and just let me know you got home safe? Roads are crazy, or 5-0 be out there, man. And I know you had a few drinks. I just want to make sure, you're saying that you're sober, but I'm just saying, just text me when you get home. Those are very rare occasions. Okay. But we're not texting each other the next day being like, yo, unless it's like, yo, we tied one on last night. That was insane. Man, I'm hungover. Ate nothing but McDonald's today. Damn, I'm hungover. Whatever the hell it is, right? But it's rare for us to be in contact like that. Unless it's like, yo, gonna go check out the Chiefs game on Sunday. You coming through? Yeah, I'll slide through. Boom. Say less, bro. I'm there. Whatever it is. A lot of conversations happen in person rather than via text. All right. So I could see this part of him being like, yeah, he didn't reach out to his friends. Yeah, because that's how fellas roll. That's how the boys roll out here, guys. Maybe the younger generation is different, but as you get older, it's not like that. It's just not. Okay. So he ain't wrong with that. I mean, he ain't wrong with that part of like, I get it, but at the same time, why would he need to text him? He already allegedly had the phones in his possession. He already had one of the guy's coats in his house, allegedly. So why would he need to text anyone? They were right there. Very interesting. Okay. Let me continue a little bit.
The guy's a scientist, I understand. Is that right? He works at his house?
Yes, sir. He works from home. He's a scientist. He does HIV vaccine research.
This is a very weird situation. Do you?
It drives me nuts that they gave him, they used this photo. It drives me nuts. Like, I'm a sensitive guy. I care about my dog. It's very interesting.
Do you have any suggestion as to how these three grown men, one of them supposedly without a coat, wound up outside frozen in the yard?
Sure. One of the things I did want to get at here, Chris, if I could, is
Sure.
There's been some of the reporters that were involved. There's been some statements attributable to Jordan that he, in fact, said that they froze to death. That's not true. The reporters first contacted Jordan's sister, and told her that there were 3 people that were dead. They somehow tracked her down to an association with this residence. When she found that out, she didn't know whether Jordan was one of the 3 men that had passed away, and she called him right away. Obviously, he was distraught. He was shook up. He tells her, and I'm going to quote this, I don't want to misstate this. The police found 3 of my friends frozen in the backyard last night. That somehow down the road gets changed to these guys froze to death.
Right.
Now, I can see how that could change. Sure. But it still doesn't change the fact that this happened. But I get it. Media could take it, chop it up and screw it, make it sound more sinister and more salacious for titles, right? So there is a good possibility that that is true. Because you got to remember, there's a lot of telephone, okay? The game telephone, a lot of the game telephone going on right now, right? Like I said, there's not a whole lot of information out here that's been written on legal paper, okay? We have yet to see police reports or anything of that sort. So a lot of it is being said through the grapevine, through the mouths of family members that want justice, or at least they want clarity, right? So it is kind of messed up, right? It is messed up that we're getting information and that information's kind of bouncing back and forth, okay? It's going up and down. It's getting crazy. But I will say, though, is that, or what I will say as well, though, is that Paserno is not helping the situation. He's not, right now he's clarifying a few things, which is exactly what he should have been doing for a long time. But these other interviews, now those are out. Now everybody's reading those things and looking at Jordan even more, right? They're gawking at Jordan right now, even worse than before because of how he's been conducting himself, how Paserno has been conducting himself in these interviews. Now, I want to go back to the interview with the pop of Ricky's dad, okay? I want to kind of break that down a little bit because, again, there's information in this piece that is so interesting, okay? But real quick, all right? Hit that like button down below. Hit it. We're almost at 1,000K. All right, give me 1,000K. Hit that like button down below, please. If you're watching on Facebook, please be sure to hit that reaction button down below if you appreciate the dissection of this and this discussion. Okay, this deep dive into this piece, because this is, in my personal opinion, important. Okay, especially with what the father is saying in here too. I think that's very interesting as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that. Please subscribe. All right, that would be greatly appreciated. Check out my merch page, pascalmerch.com. I got some really great stuff. I got a whole, I have a Valentine's Day line that just came out. Please go check it out. My Funny Valentine is really nice and custom made, handmade by yours truly. So go and check that out, please, and thank you. Thank you, Debbie. I will pin the website, okay, link to the website to the top of the chat right now, or you can find it in the description box down below. But don't forget to hit that like button, please, and thank you. And let's continue on. I want to hear a little bit from the father again.
Ricky, I promise you that. What do you believe happened to your son?
Believe that they were drugged in some kind of drug, and then they were drugged outside and left in the snow to die. And I don't know why. I don't know what went on, but I believe that because you can't have 3 grown men like that laying in the backyard, supposedly freezing to death. Well, they would have kicked the doors in and gotten the house.
He is not wrong with that. Okay, and I know that it's a little difficult to hear or understand what he's saying, but he's saying, like, if these guys were freezing that bad, they would have busted a door open, busted a window open. They would have hopped. That's what I think. I would have hopped the fence, okay, if the fence was locked from the outside. If I felt trapped, I would have done everything I could to get out of the situation as quickly as I could, right? I would have done everything. And I think that they would have done that too. And he's saying, my son is smart enough not to just allow his body to freeze. It just doesn't make sense, right? So I agree. That part is not mathing.
So I really believe they were drugged and then laid back there, and he didn't call the police for 2 days.
Very weird thing to do. We'd have to understand motive, but the first question is, because it's just, you have to admit that's a very bizarre thing to do if you're trying to separate yourself from a criminal activity, putting them in your own yard. But
no doubt.
Was your son someone who abused drugs? I'm sorry to ask the question. I know you just lost him, but it's something that we'd have to know.
I don't believe he abused drugs. I know he did some drugs. I don't know what time, but I don't believe he was abusing. He didn't have to go to rehab or anything like that. So
he was recreational with those party favors.
No, I think they were partying and everybody did.
I understand. And why do you believe that the friend Willis, do you know him? Do you know this Jordan Willis?
No.
Never met him. Never heard anything about him from Ricky?
No, nothing. The only thing I ever heard was Boyd said the guy wasn't quite right. He said mentally he was a little off.
I think you just said that your son had said that he wasn't quite right, that he was something off about him. You remembered Ricky saying that, but obviously he was still cool hanging out with him because that's where he was at the house that night.
Right.
Right. Yeah, so all 3 of them went over there.
But if you have all like-minded individuals that like to kick it, or they're all in the same mindset of like, we're about to go and kick it and tie one on and have a great time. I mean, never underestimate that persuasion, right? You can have a whole bunch of random people in one room or in one house all at the same time, kicking it for the sake of just getting a chance to go and kick it. Oh, you're going out and kicking it. You want to go kick it? Yeah, you know, he is a little bit odd, but whatever. We know him and we all want to kick it together. So let's, you know, then the other 3 guys want to kick it too. So let's just go and kick it. You know, let's get together and just do this. It's fine. You know, fine. Let's go to his house. What's the big deal, right? You know, never underestimate the power of like-minded goals, I guess, you know?
All right. And just one last question for you. And know that until this is solved, we'll stay on it. We're always a phone call away. Okay. So we're here as you get more information. What are the police telling you right now?
Police won't even come to it. We called probably 15 times. They don't return our call. I called the sheriff. He hasn't returned my call.
Really?
About Bernie. He's on it now. So I know what they.
My guess is, Ricky, you're going to get some attention when they know. I mean, look, you've been talking to the media already, but we're going to start calling the police and try to find out. I mean, that's part of the job, is being in touch with the victims' families. A lot of this doesn't make sense. I'm not questioning your credibility. I'm saying the story doesn't make sense. So, Ricky Johnson, we're on it. And I'm very sorry for the loss to your family. And we're a phone call away.
Really, really appreciate all the help you can give us.
All right. Ricky Johnson, Sr., thank you very much. Again, condolences to your family. I told you, it doesn't make sense, this situation, right? And that's weird for the police. I mean, you know, you call him 15 times. He's upset. His father, he just lost his son. Very unusual for a department to not be in touch. All right, now let's flip it to the other side. The lawyer for Jordan Willis, he's the guy who lives in the house who supposedly hosted this watch party. There have been some different stories, though. So let's bring in counsel, John Paserno.
Now, hold on. Let me roll this back.
37, Ricky Johnson, 38, Clayton McGeeney, 36. The father of one of the men who was found dead in the yard, Ricky Johnson Sr., okay, joins us now. I'm very sorry to meet you under these circumstances. I know speaking isn't the easiest thing for you to do, but everybody's going to understand what your message is on this story, Ricky. I promise you that. What do you believe happened to your son?
Believe that they were drugged in the snow to die. And I don't know why. I don't know what went on, but I believe that because you can't have 3 grown men like that laying in the backyard, supposedly freezing to death. Well, they would have kicked the doors in and gotten the house. So I really believe they were drugged and then laid back there, and he didn't call the police for 2 days.
Very weird thing to do. We'd have to understand motive, but the first question is, because it's just, you have to admit that's a very bizarre thing to do if you're trying to separate yourself from a criminal activity, putting them in your own yard. But was your son?
Yeah, you know, it's so bizarre. All of it is extremely bizarre. Okay, of course, there's reports and things being said about them not having a jacket on. One of them didn't have a jacket on when they were found in the backyard. Again, if the coat was inside the house and this guy has been in there for 2 days straight, he didn't notice the coat sitting on the couch or notice the coat that was in the kitchen or wherever it was discarded at. You got reports of, of course, still hearsay from interviews saying cell phones and personal belongings were inside the house. And this guy did not once scratch his head going, hey, where are my friends? That's a little bit odd, right? And you also got to remember, he said something. The lawyer did say something near the end that he keeps saying, well, he bought tickets. He loved these guys. These were his close friends. He bought tickets to the next game. So you're telling me he wasn't going to text them like Monday or Tuesday to be like, yo, just a reminder, y'all, the game is at this time. Let's meet up at this bar first, get a couple drinks before we head down to the game. Or we're going to take a shuttle. I'm planning on taking a shuttle from this bar, right, down to the, to the stadium so we can watch the game. You want to come with me on that? Whatever. Oh, I want to do an Uber. Maybe we should all just meet up and take an Uber down together, as a group, and then, go to the game. And then we can, if we'll just meet at this particular bar, our local watering hole, and then we'll go down there. You still got to plan certain things out. You still got to hit them up to talk about all that stuff, right? Like, you got to show that. Or you got to, you for sure are going to be texting them about that, right? At least I would. Especially when those tickets aren't cheap. Those tickets are not cheap. So you're telling me that he just did all this and nothing? He wasn't going to respond to them or talk to them at all? Like, hey, here are the plans. Ba-da-ba. I got the tickets. No. Or if they're going to go halvesies on the tickets or whatever. Hey, I got these tickets. Y'all owe me however much the tickets were. Or, hey, no worries. Just, buy me a couple drinks, and we'll call it even. Let's just go see the Chiefs win this game. Again, the information that's out here does not make any sense. But there is a possibility of a lot of different things. I mean, the avenue, the roads are splitting off into 15 million different possibilities. And I think that's the reason why all of us are so focused and obsessed with this story. So let's talk about one of those things. What are the possibilities of them actually being outside, taking whatever they took, right? They were outside in the backyard. They did a little sniff, whatever, right? And then they had a bad reaction. And instead of them actually being dragged out there, they were actually already outside. Maybe doing a quick smoke. Maybe Jordan doesn't smoke inside the house. I'm sure he doesn't smoke inside the house because he rents that house. And I'm sure that in the rules, it's a no smoking home. So he was probably like, hey guys, I need you guys outside. So they go outside and they're smoking their cigarettes after maybe they partook in something. And that ish was laced. And then all of a sudden they have a bad reaction and they pass away. Maybe some didn't, it was a fight or flight. Their bodies were freaked out kind of thing, and they went running. That's a possibility. They didn't know what to do. They were trying to get out, whatever it is. They couldn't because of being overcome by this laced stuff. And then they dropped right where they were found. That's a possibility. That is very much a possibility. And let's be real too. Fentanyl is out here. It's out here and it's claiming a lot of people's lives. A lot. Okay? More than we actually know. So there is a possibility that they took something that was laced and then they were already outside smoking a cigarette. You never know. I don't know how many of which guys actually which guys are actually smokers and which guys are not, but there's a good possibility. Some people are casual smokers, right? They smoke only when they drink. That kind of thing. There's a possibility of that. There could be a thing of one of the guys smokes, but he didn't want to be out there alone. So the guys went out with him to just hang out with him as he's smoking his cigarette. All three of them could have been smoking a cigarette. Then they did a little, hey, yo, I got a little something. You know what I mean? Take a little key, boop, boop, boop. They take it. All of a sudden, what is going on? And plop. That's a possibility. But you can't tell me that this guy did not know that those guys were in the backyard when this all went down. Again, it's the timeline that doesn't make any sense. And doesn't matter how many ways that Pacerno, his lawyer, comes out here and throws in inconsistencies. The timeline doesn't make sense. It's the fact that the bodies were gone. They were in the backyard, and for 2 days, this man did not respond or do anything. That's the part that doesn't make any sense. That's the main reason why everybody's looking at this guy with a side eye. Had he had been more responsive, had he had picked up the phone, had he had called these people back, even the fifth person who is also a friend of his, had he have responded back to his friend, this would be a completely different scenario. And a completely different conversation. And we may be looking more on the side of, this was this laced stuff and it was a bad situation for these three men. It's a bad fate for these three men. But we're not looking at it like that because of how he conducted himself when things went down. 48 hours of not talking to nobody, staying in his home, and having a fiance have to break into the house so that she can find her fiance perished. That's the problem. That's the whole reason why families are losing their doggone minds over this case. And it's justifiably so. It makes total sense in my opinion. This is the reason why it's now national news, now a national story, because we all have seen it. It is not making any bloody sense. His timeline is shady as F. And then you got Pacerno out here talking wireless on these microphones, muddying up the water even more. But there's a possibility. They took something they shouldn't have taken, and then they just literally freaked out, had their bodies reacted in a terrible way, and they could have dropped right where they were standing. Real talk. That could have been it. But just in 3 different places. That is a very strong possibility. Or there's the other possibility. They were moved. Now their bodies will tell us a story. The autopsy report will tell us a story. It will. And we need to wait for that as well. Toxicology report will definitely give us a different story than what we're being told right now. The other possibility I want to throw out here too is, what if he was outside with them, but he didn't partake? Yeah, I got an early morning tomorrow. I'd love to, but I can't. They did a little something. They reacted. He saw them all pass away right in front of his eyes. And then he straight up freaks the F out, not knowing how he's going to address this or call family or try to, not make him look like he's the bad guy. And so for 2 days, he sat there freaking out, cleaning up the evidence, trying everything he could to muster up the courage and the right story to tell so that he wouldn't get in trouble. But family, because family over everything, like Fast and Furious, family over everything, they're going to go out of their way to find out what's going on here. That's another possibility. Okay? That is. Or things went down in the house. He freaked out and dragged him out the house. Autopsy is going to give us all that information. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is, because again, I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh, maybe he was using them as experiments. I've seen that information. I've seen that conversation out here in these internet streets, that maybe he was using them as guinea pigs, like he was experimenting on this new poke that he was using, the vaccine, right? I don't know about all that. Unless, and again, that's another avenue of possibilities that I leave up to y'all, okay? Because that possibility, the possibilities on this thing are freaking endless right now, okay? But one thing I do, hold on, guys, sorry. One thing I do want to say is that, and this is a very serious thing. So yesterday was a wonderful and very difficult day. The reason why I say that is because, me and my family were celebrating something, which is really, really great. Okay. But at the same time, I received information in literally almost like in 15 minutes within each other. 2 friends that I knew passed away. 2 of them for 2 completely different things. But I found out within 15 minutes of each other. Okay. Now, the thing is what's really devastating about one of them. Fellas, we need to start. Okay, first off, we need to start taking care of ourselves. All right. I know we're men, and we, whenever we are not feeling well, we don't get ourselves checked until we're like an arm is hanging off of, by a string. But I'm sitting here saying, please go and get yourself checked out. You got high blood pressure, you got heart issues, whatever it may be. Please get yourself checked and do everything you can to get your ish right. Because as we get older, men and ladies, but I'm speaking specifically to the men, because I lost 2 good guys yesterday for 2 completely different reasons. But one of them I want to say, please, guys, if you have high blood pressure, work on it. If you partake in things a little bit too much, do less of it, okay? Get into a regimen that gets your body in a healthy place. Take care of them pipes inside of your body, because you never know when it's your last summer. I'm just going to say that. When we become men of a certain age, we need to be very serious about how we take care of ourselves. If it's less meat, then do it. It doesn't matter. Okay, who cares? You eat more plants than you do animals. All right, it doesn't matter. Take care of yourself. Stop smoking them damn cigarettes if that's the thing that's setting you back. I know we all got our vices, but at the same time, I'd rather be on this planet as long as I can with the people that I love than be gone because I didn't want to make the right choices. So that's one of those things. I know that's completely different, completely off subject on this particular case, but this next one is on topic. So, and that guy, may he rest in peace. He was a great man, but young, really young. So be careful. Be mindful of what you're putting in your bodies, fellas, and be mindful of the energy that you consume. That's the other thing. Quit stressing yourselves out over stupid ish. That's all I got to say about that. Please take care of yourselves. Do yoga. I don't care how femme you might think it looks. It doesn't matter. It's good for you. Okay? Do something that calms you down, not revs you up. All right? The other thing I want to say, and this is on topic. 2 people passed. Another one was basically heart failure. Young guy. And then another. Fentanyl. I'm not kidding. I'm really not kidding. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show so badly this morning, because I found this out late last night. 2 really great guys, 2 of them that passed away in 2 completely different ways. But these 2 guys left this planet way too soon. And then I find out the second guy that I'm talking about right now was because he took a little something that was laced, that was tainted, and now he's gone. I'm telling you, the more and more this stuff, I'm hearing more and more about that F, okay? About stuff being tainted out here. Listen, I understand we all want to have a good time. But this life is a marathon, not a sprint. And there's plenty of opportunities for you to have a great time over a course of your life. Hopefully your long life. We have to be very careful about what we're taking into our bodies. And right now, that Fenny is out here. We're talking about this case right now, and we don't know what happened to these individuals. We don't. But there's a good possibility it's tainted powder. Same thing that happened to a friend of mine just the other day, because he took the wrong stuff. Again, I get we all want to have a good time, or it's a status symbol, taking that ish. You see what I'm saying? It's a status symbol. It makes you look cool. It makes you look like you're rich. It keeps you around the hottest girls. I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it. In this long, hopefully for all y'all, in this long life that you have, this one blip in your life is more important than hopefully 90 years on this planet. Like this fella this guy that I know, he passed. Good guy, big heart, amazing human being. What breaks my heart more than anything is all of us men, heterosexual men, okay? If that's okay to say, I don't know if it's not anymore, but anyway, one thing that we get the wonderful privilege of is being able to pass on our legacy, pass on our name, put an imprint on this planet. This was a really good kid. This is a really good guy. And one thing he was rid of was an opportunity to leave a legacy behind. All because he took the wrong stuff. And let me say this. I understand y'all can do whatever you want to do. That's how you want to live your life. How you want to live your life is on you. But this Fenny stuff is real, and it's out here, and it's claiming a lot of people's lives, young and old. I say before you start doing those things, think about the things that you're putting into your body and wonder if it's actually worth it. Because I'm telling you, that one moment you make that mistake, you're not here no more. Summer's over. No more summers. No more great times. No more lasting memories. No more opportunities to do something great with your life. So these 3 men could have been that Fenny. It really could have been. We don't know. Hopefully we'll find out very, very soon. But I will say it is taking a lot of people's lives. A lot. And it's almost like an epidemic. I'm telling you right now, there's some people that I know that in the past, they just never had done something, you know what I mean, in their lives. But then that one day they just go, let me try it. They're gone. I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. Never touched the stuff in their lives, but this one day they feel like they want to experiment. I don't want to go my whole life without not trying something. And then they go and do it. And then guess what? They gone. Be careful out there, guys. Because it's claiming a lot more people than you actually know. Anyway, guys, that's the show. And RIP to my two friends. We need to start taking care of ourselves. Real talk. We need to start taking care of ourselves. Yeah, one moment is not worth a lifetime of happiness and smiles. I'm just going to say it. So choose wisely. Choose your lifestyle wisely. And fellas, we need to start taking better care of ourselves. All right? Forget looking cool. What's cool is having a cool ass life, long life that you can tell to your grandkids if you want kids, okay? That's what matters. Being here longer matters. So anyway, guys, when we find out more information about this, trust and believe we will be talking about this, okay? We don't have everything yet, but of course there's bits and pieces of information that's starting to come out. Now we're finding out about the jacket not being on one of them and all that. That is crazy information. Like I said, optically, it looks really bad for Jordan Willis. And Cuomo was not wrong. This is going to be a long this is going to be a long trip for Jordan Willis. So we'll see how he conducts himself over the next couple weeks. But I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. Oh, snap. Forgot about this. Let me grab this. Casey, thank you so much for the 5. Off topic, I sent you a message to your Facebook on Facebook about a missing teen in our area, or missing teens. 4 in the past 30 days. Is too rural for those numbers. Interesting. I'm going to have to look into it, Casey. Thank you so much for the heads up. I'll take a look at that when I get a second. Okay. I'll take a look at that, okay? But I appreciate all y'all for being here. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really does mean a lot. Do not forget to hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it scream out your name. You know the deal. Please and thank you. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. All right? We got plenty of other things we got to talk about, which we will be talking about. I see that the poll has ended, so I want to make sure, or I want to end the poll really quick. 73% really said you guys do want me to cover the Bryn Spetcher. I forgot how to pronounce her name, but that case, yeah, that's crazy. All because of the Mary Jane. It's insane. All right. So we will be talking about that. But do me a favor. Again, hit that like button down below. Okay. Get it to 1K before the end of the show, or, before you head out. That would really, really mean a lot. We're almost there. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button, please and thank you. All right. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. And I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. Make sure the notification bell is set to all. Okay, ring that notification bell so you know when I go live, because I may be on a little bit later on this evening talking about this Bryn situation. And of course, check out pascalmerch.com or beautifulbeefcollections.com and check out my merch. All right, guys. But anyway, it is time to get going. I appreciate all y'all. Have a great one. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a blessed one, guys. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.